Welcome to Making an Isolated Impact. I'm your host. I don't know what day it is anymore.
It's Wednesday, Chad.
It can't be. Yesterday was Wednesday. And the day before, and the day before, the day before. The day before that was Tuesday. I'm your host, as always, Chad Porter. And coming back from vacation is the now isolated, quarantinery Zachary Duncan.
Yes, quarantined with a fiance and a dog. Just like it's all I could ever ask for.
It's literally how the Grinch Stole Christmas ended.
Yeah. So good. I will take the gizzard, thank you.
So, you were gone last week, and
Correct.
so I want to get your reaction to who ICU ended up being.
Oh, the biggest swerve I've ever seen in my life. It actually was Sami Callihan.
Right? The shock of all shocks. I think the best part was when we were talking about it, we're like, how funny it would be if it was Sami Callihan, because, you know, that was his gimmick in NXT, and then here he is, and it's his fucking gimmick in Impact now. I appreciate it. I do. I don't want to, sit here and be one of these fans that are like, this is just WWE. No, it's fine. It didn't work in NXT because they didn't know what the hell to do, because let's be honest, how many gimmicks in WWE and NXT actually end up working in general? You know?
Yeah.
A lot of time it's just kind of whatever's. But, I think with Impact, one of the things that they're going to get right is how to use this and how to utilize it properly. It seems like, because just from what I saw, because there's not a lot of, videos and stuff available on the interwebs about what Callihan was doing with that gimmick. But the one thing that we do know is that his gimmick was kind of like, I'm taking over the arena, brah. While this seems more in line with like Anonymous or other internet-based, vigilante terrorist groups. Kind of more like he's making a point through his endeavors, and not that the controlling of the interwebs is the point, like it was in NXT. So this feels more malicious, more orchestrated, more vicious and violent than just being some hacker. This isn't 1994 with Angelina Jolie. We're not, fucking doing hackers, man. I think Matthew Lillard was in that too. This is straight up just Sami Callihan being even more crazy and doing it with more intrigue.
I agree. I don't mind that it's happening, because to me I feel like this is Sami Callihan bringing the idea to them and being like, this is an idea that we might have tried, that started in NXT, didn't really go anywhere, and I really think I can make this work. And I really think he can.
I'm right there with you. I agree completely. I definitely think that there is some subtle differences between the two gimmicks, at least for what we see right now. It definitely seems more like a vehicle to be more of a cyber terrorist type of cult kind of thing, as opposed to just being some 1994 gimmicky, look at my spiky hair, I do the interweebs, I can go to .aol.net. So, there's an obvious tonal difference between the two gimmicks, which I think is the major relevant point of this. By the by, Zachary, do you have any Grey Poupon?
I would love some. It's smashing.
Smashing, yes. Oh, yes. Poor people. I am a poor person. No, seriously. With all due sincerity, I don't know why that came about. A few weeks ago, you were mentioning that you kind of missed the whole big guy in the X Division thing. I'd like to say that Impact heard you, but technically this was already taped when you were bitching about it.
True. Now, and to be fair, when I said I missed the big guy in the X Division, I wasn't talking about fucking AC Romero.
Well, you go and you ask for a Big Mac, they give you the bigger Mac. What are you going to do? Bitch that they gave you more?
Yes. I don't want to die this quickly.
You Take some of it home, put it in the fridge. Eat it in like 3 or 4 weeks or years because it'll still be good. Relatively.
I mean, to be fair, you can't really do that with McDonald's. You either eat it when it's fresh or you throw it away.
Untrue there, sir. I will eat not cold, but I will eat refrigerated nuggets from them.
Crazy.
I am. But I also have techniques on how to reheat things without killing them.
Oh, really?
It's called using your oven.
Oh. You mean not the microwave?
I'm perplexed. Speaking of perplexed, Willie Mack, Chris Bay, AC Romero, Daga, Rohit Raju, Jake Christ, and Cousin Jake, and all competed in an X Division #1 contender scrum match. I'm about to burp again. This is going to be a theme throughout the show. I just finished dinner. I had homemade burritos. I'm trying to make my own homemade version of Chipotle. First night I did it was great, but I have different ingredients this time because people are, being rude little bitches.
Yeah.
Taking everything. All I want is like 2 cans of beans and 2 cans of corn so that way I can make some of these. Man, bitches.
Yeah, anything canned is just gone.
The funny thing was, like, when this whole thing started happening, I went to the store like twice. None of the cans, none of the boxes, none of the long-term shelf food was even touched. It was only after all the produce and meat went. That's when people started going, and it's just like, y'all are fucking dumb.
So fucking dumb.
Had I been aware that y'all were gonna be this dumb this fast, I would have bought a little extra of the beans that I was using last time when I made this. That way I didn't have to deal with your asses. So, like, it was good, but I ate it, and, Mexican food, Italian food, it causes me with the indigestion. So, get ready for the burps. So, X Division #1 contender match, Willie Mack gets the win. The idea of having Mack and AC is something that I think makes this division relevant in a lot of ways. But I also kind of like what Major League Wrestling is doing because they have a middleweight championship. They have a heavyweight championship. I think they might have a lightweight championship. I don't know. No, I think it's just a middleweight at the time. And they have an openweight championship. And they do weight classes, essentially. So, like, middleweight, I think, is, like, 185 and under, and heavyweight's, like, 186 and over. And openweight's just whoever. So I really like that kind of setup. But I think with Impact, one of the things you need to realize with championships is it needs to have a relevant reason to exist. I don't like in when you go to the WWE where main eventers are winning the IC and US title. That belt's supposed to be to show that young guys can step up and old guys can still go, not that prime John Cena can hold the U.S. belt or Roman Reigns can be an IC champion. That does nothing for the belt other than make the guys holding it look kind of like, well, you couldn't win something bigger? Like, come on. So with the X Division title, it's a brand divisional title, based around a style. So I think part of the thing that I would like to see more of an Impact is utilize that methodology because so much wrestling today is the X Division style.
Yeah.
When
like everywhere.
Yeah, when the belt was first created, you had Jeff Jarrett, Ken Shamrock, Scott Hall, Rick Steiner was there for a brief spell, Buff Bagwell, and eventually AJ Styles and Raven. But you didn't have a lot of, quote unquote, high flyers in your main event scene. So that belt was to get guys who weren't that charismatic or weren't that well known over with their stylings. But now everyone's doing that shit. And I feel like the belt no longer has a relevant purpose anymore. It needs to be something where Impact rededicates. And they are doing that. I want to be clear. I do feel they're doing that because you look at someone like Ken Shamrock, you look at Sawyer Fulton, you look at like Reno Scum. There's a lot of guys they're bringing Michael Elgin, Eddie Edwards. There's a lot of guys that don't fit the quote-unquote X Division style that are being brought into the company, and that helps differentiate the X Division from the rest of it. And I keep advocating for this. I'm going to keep advocating for this. I would like to see more strong style type wrestlers come into Impact, more MMA influenced wrestlers come in, because when you have that kind of like Elgin, Eddie, if you brought back Josh Barnett, if you went and got, Tom Lawler or Davey Boy Smith Jr., having those guys on the top of the brand would then help separate the X Division guys and allow them to stand out again. It's that old adage: if you eat nothing but dessert for every meal, it loses its luster, it loses its allure. It's no longer a treat, and you often get sick off of it. So, I think the X Division and that type of wrestling should be treated as that snack, that treat, that chocolate pudding cup, that piece of cake. It's good to have with a meal. You don't want it to be the whole meal, though, because when it's the whole meal in this instance, it makes the X Division Championship on its own irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the reason why I'm not a big fan of Tessa being the world champion, because it makes the Knockouts division title irrelevant. Now, if you want to sit down and get rid of those belts, I'm not going to be a fan of it, but at least then you're going to be going into a direction where you're accepting that these belts no longer have a place in your brand. I wouldn't go that direction, though. I'm not a proponent of that. But anyway, Willie Mack wins this. I think he's the perfect X Division challenger that they have right now. What do you think about Willie Mack, and do you think he's going to pair up well with the X Division champion? It's Ace Austin still, right? He hasn't lost it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still Ace Austin.
I don't know why
I
gaffed on that.
I know. I was watching this happen, and I had to think for a second. It's like, who is the X Division champion right now?
Because Ace Austin, hasn't really done much since the Tessa thing ended.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's kind of like, did he lose it in between somewhere? Like I said, it's still Wednesday to me. It's always going to be Wednesday. This is my Groundhog Day.
It's too bad you're not Bill Murray.
Bitch, I might be. Phil? Phil, is that you? Fucking Bill Murray runs down the street. I would too if someone started yelling at me. Chad, is that you? Takes off running.
So, but yeah, I like Willie Mack going after the X Division title. I would like to see him win it because Willie still has a Gotti Golder on him since he's come to Impact.
Mm-hmm.
And we're both very high on Willie. I will say, I think Willie has great charisma in the ring. I feel like he needs to work on his mic work.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit, because if he can get the mic work down, then he's a main event star easily. He's got everything else. He just needs to get that one aspect down, and it'll be great.
I don't disagree with that. Sometimes I feel like he kind of gets lost on the mic, and it's not that he's not charismatic. This is a situation of like, let's look at someone like Seth Rollins, Baron Corbin. They don't have personality.
Mm-hmm.
Seth tries to have a personality, but his personality is that of just being an asshole. And he's not that likable or dislikable as an asshole because, who's Seth Rollins? He's kind of a dip. Baron Corbin tries, but he doesn't really have a lot of that natural charisma. He tries. He tries so hard. But listening to him is like listening to someone trying to be charismatic. Willie's charismatic. Mm. But Willie sometimes kind of gets lost in the promo, and sometimes, I suffer from this, and I know others do. He kind of gets a little mush-mouthed, where like he'll stumble or misspeak, and it happens. I know for me, it's a combination of just a natural speech impediment that I've always had, probably because I had a 105-degree fever and it fucked me up somehow when I was 3, and also because my brain goes faster than my mouth does. And this is something that you'll see sometimes if I'm not being very careful with my editing when I write. You'll notice words are missing because in my head, I've already said them. I just forgot to type them. So I think Willie kind of suffers from something similar, but that's fixable.
Mm-hmm.
Being a bland sack of potatoes like bland sack of Corbin is not. Potato Rollins isn't going to be anything more than maybe whiskey at his best day. He'll never be chocolate mousse. Speaking of Moose, we'll get to him in a second. So I see Mac as someone who really can ascend still. And I think getting the X Division title, if they bring Raven in, because we'll get to that here in a second too. I think having someone like the caliber of Raven or James Mitchell or Rosemary or they're all goth characters apparently. Anyone who's that on that level of talking, having them sit down with Will and go, this is how we think you should be delivering some of your promos. I think that would be such a big benefit for him. But I don't know, there are guys in the industry, gals in the industry, they don't want to take advice. They think that, I've been here for 15 years. I don't need to learn anything new. I'm not saying that's Willie. I also don't know if it's not. So I hope that Willie is someone who, is still learning to take constructive criticism to help him grow. And I hope he doesn't think that he's where he needs to be a top guy. Because if he does think that he can still grow, I think he will be phenomenal as a future main eventer. But first and foremost, I think the X Division title going on Willie is the right call. I think him and Ace Austin should have a really great feud. And as Rich Swann kind of hangs out on the sidelines, I think it gives Mac something to do going forward. Because I'm pretty sure that Mac and Swann were supposed to win the tag team titles at some point this year. But of course, now that is pretty much in doubt. So we then get a little promo showing what happens when Sami Callihan lets his friends kind of play without him. Sawyer Fulton burned down the toy shed. Jake Christ isn't letting anyone borrowing the fire truck, and Dave's sucking on a controller, and I don't know what the hell is he doing with that. The OVEs and some they're having a day, man. They're having a day.
They're having a day.
They're having
their own Wednesday.
Their own repetitive infinite loop Wednesday. Moving on. So we get the Moose, and the Chocolate Moose is taking on the Chase Stevens. Zachary, do you remember Chase Stevens?
I do. Part of the Naturals with what's the other guy's name? Andy Douglas.
Yeah, look at you.
Once mentored by the great Chris Candy-Do.
Chris Candy-Do. Candy-Do. Someone take the show away from us. We're fired.
We don't deserve it.
You don't deserve us.
Maybe we do deserve it.
Right.
That's the problem.
Maybe that's the infinite sorrow of it all. Maybe we do deserve this. Maybe this is our hell. Maybe we're dead.
Maybe.
So, anyway, yeah. So he's one half of the Naturals, like you said. Once mentored by Chris Candido, then also mentored by one Shane Douglas of the
Dusty.
Ooh, Dusty of the Irish Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I find that funny. I'm fucking broken. Oh, goddamn. Hang on. I'm where was I? Oh yeah. Anyway, so he was, one part of the newly franchised Naturals. They would arguably be 3 or 4 on the listing of tag teams at the time, maybe even 2 or 3, because it was AMW. Well, we'll say from like 03 to 05. It was AMW, or 03 to 06. It was AMW for the most part, and then it was Triple X, and then the Naturals. For the most part, during that time frame. Would that be a fair type of acknowledgement?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty fair. Because when did the Dudleys showed up in late 05?
Yes.
And then LAX didn't pop up until when?
Late 05, start of 06.
Okay.
Like, they were there, like, maybe the last week of 05.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say top 3 for the naturals would be fair then.
So seeing Chase Stevens come back is great. He was working with what was it, Kings Warriors, Warrior Wrestling or something like that, out of Vegas for a while, I think. Andy Douglas, the tag team partner, retired like a decade ago, so he's not. I don't know what he looks like. He might look rough. I don't know. You know, like you never know how some people look after they retire.
Right.
You know, like look at Barry Windham. He retired to Nate Kendall. They're now one. That's not true. Kendall's still very much alive, thankfully. So looking at the Moose Chase Stevens match, what do you think of it? It was pretty short, but it proved a point.
Yeah, it was pretty short, and it didn't need to be long. In fact, I mean this is another thing that we keep going back to over and over and over again. We don't need these long drawn out matches.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a quick 2 minutes, but it makes a point, then it's perfect. Because Moose went out there, he pushed around Chase Stevens. Stevens got some offense in, you know, as a veteran would. You want him to get some offense there, but then Moose hits him with the quick spear, 1, 2, 3, and that's Moose making a statement. I am Mr. Impact Wrestling. I don't give a damn about TNA. TNA is worthless to me.
Well, you might say that beating Chase Stevens was a bit of a suicidal maneuver. Did you just Marge Simpson me? I love this. I was going to say I love suicide, but I have to be very, careful here.
Yeah, be careful.
The character known as Suicide, who debuted, I think, in 2008, popped up. Brand new fucking look. And dropped some bitches. Well, dropped one bitch.
Yeah.
A big ol' moosey bitch. And watching it go down was awesome. There's just something about Suicide the character that makes me very happy. The fact that Impact keeps going back to that well, time and time again, is one of the best things about this company to me. Because it doesn't matter if it's Billy Corgan, Dixie Carter, Jeff Jarrett. It don't matter. Because they're going to keep doing their thing, and I think that's just... I like that they're not being told what to do by 2008 standards. And let's be honest, I love the new Suicide look.
It's very dark. It's very gritty. I would say it's a pretty big improvement from where he was originally.
I like the original mask. Don't get me wrong, but the bodysuit I thought was always kind of lacking.
Yeah.
But and the overly obnoxiously large oven mitt gloves. Those had to be so uncomfortable to wrestle with. I don't know if this Suicide has the big gloves. We'll take a quick look. Skip through. Skip to Lou, my darling. How did you feel about his return being kind of brought upon by Scott D'Amore going, you wanted some TNA? Here's some TNA.
I mean, I like it. I like the return. I definitely wasn't expecting Suicide for fucking Chris D'Amore to bring out. I would have thought it would have been someone more
Petey Williams-esque.
Yeah, more Team Canada-esque for Scott D'Amore to bring out, or maybe even somebody else. But yeah, I dig it. I like the new look for Suicide. It took me a minute to remember that the manic symbol that's on his chest was always there, because that kind of threw me off. I was like, why is he still have the manic logo on him?
Well, yeah, because before the Manic logo was there, but it had Suicide over it. And
Right.
then I think it was like 2013, 2012 when they brought TJP back full time. They put him in the Suicide gimmick, but they changed his name to Manic.
Yeah.
And it no one gave a fuck.
Yeah. I mean, it was like 1 or 2 months later that fucking Austin Aries dressed up as Manic, and then the whole thing was just done.
And well, then TJP took Manic and gave him like a hoodie and like a completely different costume, and like the only thing that was notably similar was the eyes for his new mask.
Yeah.
I just remember Manic was trying to like hit on Shara at one point. Goddamn. So now the question is going to be, who's playing Suicide? Is it TJ Perkins?
Yes.
Because if you don't know, the original character was played by Loki. In the 2008 TNA Impact video game, Loki provided the voice and mocap for Suicide. When he came to Impact, it was played by Christopher Daniels. Then they started doing this gimmick where the Motor City Machine Guns were trying to expose Suicide as Daniels, and then Daniels came out to side with Suicide, and that's when Frankie Kazarian was underneath the mask. Then TJ.
All very convoluted.
All very convoluted. Then, who was the Japanese wrestler in World Elite? Do you remember? Kyoji? Is that it?
I don't remember.
All right, gotta look this up. Let's see. TNA Suicide. I love the theme song. Suicide's theme song is the greatest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm looking up Suicide on Wikipedia. Let's see what we get. I think it's like Kyoji. Suicide wrestlers who have portrayed Suicide. Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, Kiyoshi, TJ Perkins, Jonathan Gresham. All right.
Sure.
You have Ring of Honor's Octopus King and you put him in the... Okay. And then you have Caleb Connolly was 017 to 019. So my thought would be...
Oh, yeah. I vaguely remember that happening.
Oh, my God. They should do a Best of Suicide DVD. And then just, like, interview, like, all the people who were Suicide. But, like... So what do you think of him as you know... how Daniels, what did you think of Suicide? Hardest guy I ever had to wrestle. Frankie, you know, with your time dealing with Suicide, what do you think of him? I thought he was real pretty. You know, just kind of, like, be all, like... Shh, ha 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 ha, and like do like an entire 90-minute documentary where everyone's in on the joke, but everyone's pretending that Suicide's an actual person. And then TJ Perkins like, man, when he took out that mask and looked just like me, I was like, that's me. But then I looked in the mirror, I'm like, wait, no, I'm me. Like just do shit like that, and then like Suicide could be sitting there, and like you could have like I don't know, Mike Tenay voice him, and he could be like, you know. I always just find that it's Don West. It's got to be Don West. You know, I just have him be like, you know, I always find it very interesting, you know, when people take my mask off because they don't really like, I always change my face. Like, that'd be fucking hilarious. He's like, you could be like, I'm Tom Cruise, motherfucker. I am John Travolta and Nick Cage simultaneously because when you take my mask off, you take my face off. Yeah, I love that.
Oh dear.
I love that movie. So I'm glad Suicide's back. I'm glad that they dropped the dumb Manic name too. We then get Rosemary. She's kind of all like, I got the friends in low go places where the whiskey's something and the something. I hate country songs.
She does a Trevor Murdoch?
I mean, maybe she knows Trevor Murdoch. I mean, it stands to reason. I mean, she knows the tallest wrestler in the world, Andrew Everett. So she's yelling at this attractive blonde bartender. And she wants to know how you move on from anger. And she said that for 2 years, she's been stuck in this pit of agony of sorts. And then from down in the bar, you hear, ha! 2 years. Rosemary saunters on down and sees Raven. And Raven gives the best psychotic speech I've ever heard in my life. 2 years, that's nothing. Wait until you get 5. That's where you can really start to really agonize him. And then at 7, you can pretend to be his friend. And then at 9, that's where things get even crazier. And she's like, when does it end? He goes, and it never ends.
It goes on forever. I can't wait till we're 80.
Old folks home in wheelchairs, just sitting next to each other because he's talking about Tommy Dreamer. And I'm putting holes in his IV drip bag. Like, goddamn, Raven, I love you. Unexpected, awesome, love it. Raven looks to be doing pretty good. He looks in solid shape, and it looks like he's finally moved away from just buying Marvel T-shirts to wear all the time. What do you think of seeing Raven? Because they're doing all of this is supposed to be planned to build up for the TNA show that's no longer happening now because of the COVID-19 coronavirus.
Yeah.
So getting all these cameos is expected, but what do you think of seeing Raven this time around?
I enjoyed it. It took me a little bit to kind of grasp what Raven was rambling about. but I like the dynamic of Raven just mentoring Rosemary on just really like the slow burn of revenge.
The dark arts of revenge.
Yeah. So good.
I too am a proponent of this idea moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
More Raven and Rosemary, please. We then move on. We see, I think it's a promo with Willie Mack talking about how he's going to go after Ace Austin. Then we get the Reno Scum versus the Riskity Rascals. Now, it says on the video on ImpactWrestling.com, shocking upset. Bitch, you best not sleep on the Reno Scum. What'd you think?
Again.
Yes.
Wow. Again, why is that called an upset?
At least this time it makes sense because Reno Scum hasn't exactly had the best record in Impact Wrestling.
True.
I don't know if they've had a tag team title shot this time around. I know they were involved in, like, when they were merging the GFW and TNA titles back in, 2017? But yeah. I don't think that they've had a title shot since, and if they have, it was very quick. But, this to me, I think is a great win for the Reno Scum because I love the Reno Scum. I love the deplorableness about them. I love their punk lifestyle. I'm not a big tattoo guy, but a lot of what they do, a lot of what they are, a lot of what they represent, I myself concur with. Zachary, do you concur?
Why didn't I concur?
That's my favorite line from any goddamn Tom Hanks movie in my life. I need to watch that again. So what do you think of the Scum getting the win over the Rascals? The Skulls of Raz.
Well, as much as I'd love to see the Rascals thrive, I mean, you gotta lose some matches, and that's what happened. But I like the Reno Scum getting a win here because if they didn't get a win, then they're just kind of stuck being Ace Austin's lackeys. And as you said, they haven't had a great track record in tag team matches. But giving them a win is like, okay, now we're seeing a little more depth in the tag team that we haven't had for the past few months.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this was a clean win, wasn't it?
It was. This was a clean win.
Love it. Love everything about it.
Which is saying something for Reno Scum.
Yes, it is, because they're not very clean, hence the scum portion. Can I just say right now that I absolutely adore what they're doing with Joey Ryan? Like, honest to God, like I've made mention before, I'm not a fan of the man. I think a lot of what he does is a little bit, I think it goes too big too often. But I love the cancel culture gimmick that he's doing, and the fact that he's tagging with Rob Van Dam during all this is fucking hilarious. It's the most out of nowhere tag team, but yet it works so well because Rob's a stoner. Katie Forbes is a less active porn star, I guess. Is that the proper way of describing her? And not Cody Deaner. Joey Ryan has that whole 70s sleazeball shtick down. So seeing them all come together, it does make sense because they all have that kind of more less than refutable reputation. I appreciate that. And the fact that they're trying to cancel people, I think is a great gimmick as well. And the fact that they're targeting the Deaners, all because Cody Deaner said something about Katie Forbes not needing to be shy of how she looks or being ashamed of how she looks. It's such a great social commentary to the way the internet is. I love it. It's big, dumb, big, awesome. Big fan of it. I'm a fan. You're a fan. We're all fans. I'm a dude. She's a dude. He's a dude. We're all dudes, yeah. Zachary, are you a dude?
I'm a dude.
Yeah. What do you think of the cancel culture?
I like the gimmick. I had some issues with their debut of it on the previous week because Joey Ryan came out. They already had the new music for him. He already came out in the gear, and the announcer already announced them as cancel culture. So it was just kind of like, I feel like you need to let the wrestlers reveal their new stable and what they're all about before, you kind of just already have all the stuff for it. All the extra side stuff that's like, oh, they're a stable now. But I like what they're doing. I like I like Joey Ryan basically wrestling in Matt Striker's attire from 2006.
Only with khakis and knee pads.
It's true. It's true. But I like that I like the cancel culture name to it because they are essentially, I mean, first of all, they're the biggest hypocrites in the world, and that's the best part of it. Mm-hmm. But they are taking that idea that, like you said, the internet idea of everything is, people are so volatile against the smallest things that they just need to just get rid of it immediately. I think it's good.
I do too. It very much feels like a modern version of Right to Censor.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest gripe with Right to Censor is that it was such a great heel group, but they never let it be something more than what it was, which was kind of just a way to get slapjack heroes over on them.
Right.
That was a great vehicle. The look was great because it's very not Mormon. Who dresses like that? They go door to door. Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
They got that whole Jehovah's Witness vibe going with the white shirts that cut off at the elbows and the black ties, and they're all very uniformed. But they missed an opportunity to get those guys over, and I think that in itself kind of caused a lot of quick decay for that group, because Stevie Richards could have been a prominent heel either in the upper mid card scene or even, depending on with who, in the main event scene. But WWE is a very fickle place, and having Stevie Richards trying to cancel The Rock would have been something that they would never have given the opportunity to do. And I think the biggest problem with WWE is that everyone has taken their booking style now. Do 4 or 5 month feuds. You don't need to do that all the time. Stevie Richards could have been, because if you think about 2000, the summer 2000, when Right Center was probably at their peak, King of the Ring saw Edge win and Triple H, Kurt Angle, and The Rock, I think, in the main event. And then Fully Loaded was Benoit Rock, I think. And then I forget who Rock faced at SummerSlam for the belt. But you could have easily have kind of shoehorned Steve Richards in at Fully Loaded, or even heading into SummerSlam, because The Rock was a foul-mouthed talking, sycophant who's self-indulgent, egotistical. It would have been the perfect person for Right to Censor to try to cancel in that regard. You okay there, Thackeray?
Yeah, I'm good.
Stop futzing with your mic.
I moved it away so I could cough and not get corona over everybody.
You gave us the corona. You couldn't even get us a Bud Light. You gave us the corona. So
they're gonna go out of business so hard.
I know. I feel bad for them. It's like every Greek fan who thought ISIS was a really cool, sweet name. We're gonna name my kid that, name my superhero that, and then you got a bunch of fucking terrorists thrown in the goddamn name. But I feel like you can now take the name back. So
yeah,
there is a window period. But I think with Steve Richards, that whole 1999, 2000, 2001 run could have been so much better if they had given them an opportunity to face off with the bigger names, especially if you had given them the opportunity to get over on them. Not necessarily win, but could you imagine if, like, when Stone Cold came back, if the Right to Censor was still viable at that point? Could you imagine them assaulting him repeatedly for drinking all the time, to the point where, like, every time he drank, he got angry because it just reminds him of the fact that Right to Censor got over on him? Like, that would have been great. You didn't necessarily need to have Stevie Richards win a feud with Austin, but have them go 25 minutes on pay-per-view, bada boom. And I hope that they remember the missed opportunities, and if this cancel culture group in Impact catches on, you add to it with guys who maybe aren't being used well, or aren't guys that have a lot of notoriety at the moment. Put them in the group. Yeah, maybe moving over the remnants of OVE into cancel culture. Having Jake and Dave Chris dress up like Mormons, and have Sawyer Fulton wear glasses and his hair's up in a proper bun, or maybe he shaves his head. Having that kind of addition would, I think, make Joey Ryan maybe even a little bit more relevant as a competitor. I don't know what the end game is, and I don't necessarily see Joey Ryan as good of a all-around worker as Stevie Richards was in 2000. But there's certainly something there. So I want to see where this ends up, and I want to see how over this can get. High hopes. He's got high hopes. So Sami Callihan delivers a message. It's the typical message. Going after the Ken Shamrock of it all. Shamrock was all like, "Hey, I'm in the Impact Hall of Fame," and Sami Callihan's like, "That's cute. Here's a fireball to your face." And Ken's like, "What?" And now Ken's drawing on his eyebrows for the next 6 weeks. Any thoughts on the Sami hacking of the broadcast?
No. We and this we really just got a brief little overview of I'm everything on the internet is take it as truth. There's so many lies that are just being accepted right now, and I'm going to reveal them, kind of a shtick going on. So, which is pretty much all that he's was saying on the Reality is Lost webpage.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't I am waiting semi patiently to get deeper into the crux of the whole thing.
Are you waiting for Godot?
No, I've waited long enough for it.
Fucking hated that play. Next up, we get the OVE, Madman Fulton, Dave Chris versus Rhino and Sabu in a old school rules match, aka a hardcore rules, ECW rules, whatever you want to call it. Rhino and Sabu get the win. Not the best match, but considering who Sabu is at this point, I think it was commendable. Wasn't the worst thing I've seen. Any thoughts on this one?
This match was fucking sloppy.
A little bit.
But I mean, and not even just like, and Sabu may have been the most of it, but there were several instances where Fulton was just kind of moving around, lost, not sure where the next cue was. It's just it wasn't good.
Do you think Fulton can still get better?
See, I don't know that he can. Is the thing. Like, to me, and I've said this ever since OVE brought Fulton in. Fulton is your prototypical giant monster that's just sent in to throw people around and get a quick win.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the fact that he doesn't usually get that unless he's facing a local jobber. So I don't know that there's anywhere up for Fulton from here.
So endgame conversation then. Does Fulton have a place in Impact beyond OVE?
I don't think so. I mean, if and or when OVE breaks up, because they're crumbling right now because Sami has left them high. You'll get 1 or 2 months of Fulton now. He's untethered. He has no one to call the shots for him anymore. And they barely did that in the first place. But then after that, I don't know what you really do. I mean, he's not as interesting or as dynamic as Abyss was in 2005. Abyss could fucking go.
Yeah.
And he was such an interesting character because he wasn't, as we talked when we did the old school TNA reviews, Abyss wasn't just your typical giant monster that ran over people. He was like one of those guys from like a slasher.
Yeah, he was Jason Voorhees. He was Michael Myers.
Yeah.
He was unrelenting.
Mm-hmm.
So Sawyer's sloppy as fuck, and he's been sloppy for years, which is why the WWE let him go. I think you can salvage him post OVE if you go that Abyss Kane type of route where you take, Chris Justice and Isaac Yankem and you turn him into Abyss or Kane. I think for Sawyer Fulton to find life after OVE, you're going to need to find a way to get Sawyer Fulton into a new gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it like this. If Bray Wyatt can be seen as a main eventer with how shitty of a wrestler he is, then there's no reason Sawyer Fulton couldn't be. So, there's hope, but you gotta navigate the departure right. And yeah, I'm gonna fucking say it until someone starts to believe it. Bray Wyatt's a bad worker. And I always ask this question. Save for the one time that you had The Wyatt family and the Shield in that 6-person tag match. Say for that one time. Can you name one good Bray Wyatt match?
Nah.
Nah, dog.
Nah.
Nah, dog. So I'm not going to sit here and get too worked up about Sawyer Fulton right now, because I do think there's a possibility eventually of Fulton breaking out on his own. It's kind of just that idea of giving him the opportunity to do so. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like right now we haven't seen him more than just the big monster. And it's kind of like the Lance Hoyt thing. You know, think about all the times Hoyt was just the big athletic dude or just the big tag team guy, you know, in Impact or New Japan or wherever. And now he's showing off his promo skills in AEW, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, this Lance Archer dude is really fucking good. And we're all like, yeah, no shit. So maybe, who knows? Main event time, I think. No, second main event. 2 tag team matches back to back. Not sure how I feel about that. Tessa and Eddie versus Michael and Taya. It was fine.
Yeah.
I don't feel like the 4 of them have good chemistry together, and I feel like with Eddie and Elgin right now, one of the things that people should be trying to do more and more is keeping them from each other, because part of the reason why, like when you think about best of 5s, best of 7s, you know, the one that sounds out the most is Benoit and Booker T from WCW. The reason why that was so good was because they didn't have much interaction beforehand or after. The Elgin Eddie, you know, best of, what was it, 7? Best of 5?
It was best of 5, but there were like 3 matches preceding it.
Right. That was really good. And I feel like, you know, it was the perfect culmination, but I understand they're building up to the pay-per-view, which is now, you know, delayed because the corona. Dun, 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 dun.
Damn it.
My corona. My. Hey, my corona. So, whenever that pay-per-view ends up happening, hopefully it's by June, hopefully even May. You know, that would be a great thing. I don't know how long it's going to take to rebook and to get people back into seats. I'm assuming once, you know, things settle down after we hit the apex of the pandemic and we start to go down on the other side, I think that's when you'll see a lot of things get opened up. And I think after that point, it'll be about 2 to 3 months. And I think people will be snatching up tickets to whatever and anything to just try to get back to normalcy, depending on, you know, hopefully this financial stimulus for people who are out of work. Because you and I are not out of work.
Correct.
So we're still making our money. But hopefully, you know, people who are out of work, they're going to be able to be given something from the stimulus package so that they can go back and integrate into everyday society and hopefully buy some tickets to things. And hopefully when Impact puts tickets out on sale again for Terminal 5 for Rebellion, right? That's what it's called, Rebellion?
Yes.
They need to go back to having specific monthly pay-per-views so that way I don't need to think. God damn it! Although I think Rebellion was also about this time last year too, so maybe I need to shut up. I'm still hoping for the day they go back to Final Resolution, Against All Odds, Destination X, Lockdown, Sacrifice, Slammiversary, Victory Road, Hard Justice, No Surrender, Bound for Glory, Genesis, and Turning Point. That's the idea. Like that's the 12 streamer I want to see, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I know it hasn't been used in like a decade, but I don't give a fuck. Any thoughts on the Elgin, Eddie, Tessa, Taya match?
No, I mean, like you said, it was an okay match. There was one moment in the match that I thought was very interesting. It was Tessa was like in the corner, and Taya was holding her leg so that she couldn't. And then Eddie came over and kicked Taya off of Tessa.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just like this reaction from a good portion of the audience, a good portion of the crowd. They're just kind of like, oh. Well, that's kind of fucked up. And there were a few boos after that moment happened. It is, and I was watching. I was just, I mean, granted, I I watch wrestling when only a heel would, only a heel male would actually hit a female wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's outdated, maybe. But there was just this initial guttural reaction of just, huh, that's kind of fucked up for a face to do. So I feel like that in and of itself was pretty, and maybe, that was just a handful of people and there's not that much that's going to come from it. But it definitely was a moment that happened. And there was definitely that initial just involuntary reaction to it. I thought that was very interesting given, this integration of the knockouts and the men's division, coming together and Tessa being the world champion and everything.
Well, I keep saying that as much as Impact is trying, and as much as there's a vocal minority in the fan base that want to see it, by and large, people don't want to see it.
Uh huh.
And this is going to be one of those situations where, for so long, the indie scene was like, this is what fans want, this is what fans want, this is what fans want. Listen to us. And so much of that was accurate, it was true, it was honest, it was fair. And the people who rebelled against it is, well, that's not what the majority want, that's not what the casuals want, so we're not going to do it. And this is mostly referring to, 05, 06, 07, X Division Ring of Honor style wrestling being brought into the WWE. Right. But this is one of those times where that's going to be an argument where that does, in fact, hold water. This is not going to be something that people want to see. There might be a macabre, morbid sensibility to see it. Like, if you put Amanda Nunes against Brock Lesnar, what would happen?
Right.
But after you realize that no woman the size of Amanda Nunes or Ronda Rousey could ever beat someone like Brock Lesnar in an actual fist fight, you're going to lose the desire to ever see it again because you're going to see just how truly horrific it's going to end. And I feel like wrestling needs to realize that as much as you want to be counterculture and in your face about, changing the norms of society, we're getting to a point where there are certain norms of society that aren't really something you can, distance yourself from. Like, it's one thing to advocate for, gay wrestlers or for minority wrestlers to be used because that's just a common thought process. Like, yeah, everyone should have a chance. Everyone should be given an opportunity. Everyone should have a place to showcase their attributes because, the color of your skin doesn't determine your worth. But trying to sit here and argue science against, this, and again, I'm a Democrat. I'm a progressive ideologue by virtue, but trying to sit here and tell me that, well, Tessa Blanchard's every bit the athlete of Michael Elgin, I'm going to tell you scientifically you're wrong. That doesn't mean that she's less of a person. It doesn't mean that she's less of a draw. It doesn't mean that she's not as entertaining. I'm saying that there are people out there who will see Tessa and Elgin as physically too different to believe. And I know wrestling's like, well, a lot of indie, internet wrestling fans will go, well, wrestling's, or we got undead wizards, fighting, whoever all the time. This is where you draw the line. And honestly, I'm not an Undertaker fan, so no, right. I wasn't a fan of that either. And more specifically, you have to realize that this is a fad point of view. You are not going to be able to generate this type of support long term because science is not in your favor. So to embrace something that could be potentially damaging long term to your, overall global perspective is in itself short-sighted and narrow-minded. And that's why I'm not a big fan of putting women with the men in these matches for titles, because at the end of the day, you are not going to have enough Tessa Blanchards to make this a relevant, viable possibility. And then when it's all said and done, unless Tessa Blanchard goes on to become the greatest thing ever in the history of pro wrestling, there's going to be a large segment of people who see her run as a blemish on the title. Now, granted, you've had your Eric Young, so it's not like there hasn't been blemishes before. But you also don't want to give people a reason to, turn away from your product. The reason why Tessa won the belt, and it's a very obvious reason, is because Impact is trying to be different. And when that's your goal, when that's the final cause of every move you make is just to be different, ultimately you're going to end up finding out that being different for different sake isn't exactly the best way to go about things. I don't think women can't be main eventers in pro wrestling. I don't think women can't be draws in pro wrestling. But I think just like in any form of combat sports, if you want the women to sell, you got to put them with other women. Ronda Rousey was such a big star because of the fact that she was fighting women who were at the top of their game. Now, some would argue, well, they weren't the top, the top, because, when Ronda faced the top, she lost. That's neither here nor there. Ronda was a draw. And I feel like Tessa could be a draw too, but I feel like doing it against the men is going to cause too many people to have too many issues because identity politics is too divisive of an issue in today's climate to make this a successful thing. It's just not going to happen. So the longer they go on with it, the more likely they are to damage their brand more so.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find ways to bring more fans in, not find reasons for fans to not care. And the whole, well, if they don't like it, they can stop watching is the problem Impact has had for a decade.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we time and time again, we will say that the WWE does. But in one instance, the WWE actually, the way they are handling the women's division, for the most part, at least for that. Honestly, I haven't been up to date on the WWE side of things for a while, but from when I was watching, the way they were handling the women's division just a year or two ago was exactly what you want.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like having the women fighting the men will make them more viable and more interesting to watch. I mean, people like just female wrestling. People like women's wrestling. I mean, is WoW still going on?
Yes. Their second season, I believe, is done, and I don't know when they're going to start filming their third.
But the whole women's revolution hashtag thing was dumb because anything that's a hashtag is dumb.
Mm-hmm. And anything led by the Bellas is dumb.
Yes, also dumb. But they took women's title matches and put them in main events of not just Raws or SmackDowns. They put them in main events of pay-per-views. Mm-hmm. And that's all you need to do. We've said time and time again that Tessa should be the face of the company.
Mm-hmm.
And we still do not disagree with the assessment, given us not wanting her as the world champion.
Or the men's world champion, because I have no problem with them going and making the knockout title a world title.
Yeah. There's no reason they can't make the knockouts title a world title itself. So, and I don't want us to just be, and we're not going to just be, analyzing and critiquing like they're making mistakes here and here and this, But in the long run, I don't know that her title run as the men's quote-unquote world champion will do anything to help either her stake or the company's stake.
You're not wrong. So let's look at the main event. Su Yung and Havoc in the Undead Realm. I've been hit or miss on these in the past, and this is going to be one of those. Again, I'm not a big fan of these type of segments in wrestling. I like my pro wrestling to be more sports simulated.
Yeah, more grounded.
More grounded in reality. I like my realism. That doesn't mean that I haven't enjoyed them in the past, and that doesn't mean that I don't like certain attributes. Like, I love the Rosemary stuff. I just wish we weren't pretending that she actually was a real demon. I would go in the realm of she's just a crazy chick.
Yeah.
Could still do everything else, but you wouldn't have to spend money on digitizing her out of scenes with a cloud of smoke. In fact, it would be hilarious, like if she threw like a smoke bomb down, like magicians do, and just like ran off screen, and then Raven would be like, "I see you leaving." Like that could work, but so I'm not a fan of this. I will say this: the match is
the quote unquote match.
Yeah, the match. Seeing James Mitchell hug a knife, funniest shit I've seen in a while. I also love that he as he ascends to the heavenly spectral, he sees Abyss and he's inviting him in with a bag of tacks.
Yep.
Love that. And then finally, James Mitchell, now in heaven, goes, "Who books this shit?" Fair play, James.
Great question, James.
My concern with this is that they killed off James Mitchell, the character, but I also need to bring up a possibility that I think does exist. Is it possible they're bringing James Mitchell in as a heavenly character now?
Be interesting.
For 30 years, he's been a servant of the devil. But now he's got gray in his beard, his devilish hair's gone, and he's no longer wearing them slick red suits. Could he be an agent of the white? Of the heavenly spectral? Of the... of the Patty Mayonnaise, if you will?
Okay. Need heavenly James Mitchell with Rosemary. Need it, want it, gotta have it.
You said need James Mitchell with Rosemary?
Yes. Heavenly James Mitchell, just not even so much antagonizing her, but just trying to convince her of the goodness of the light.
That'd be funny as shit.
It'd be so good.
That would be funny as shit. I'm 100% on board on that idea. All right. So all Impact shows are canceled for the foreseeable future. The Columbus shows that I have tickets to have been canceled, and I will be refunded. So that sucks.
Are they going to go the way of do the arena shows, or are they just...
Well, I think they have 2 more weeks in the can.
Okay.
They may not have to, because a lot of people are talking about getting things back on track in mid to late April. So maybe what they'll do is remember how after Bound for Glory they had that one the show after, it was like from the LE Studios out across from the Staples Center, and it was like D'Amore and Josh Matthews hosting, and they had like a bunch of interviews and like videos. They might do a week or 2 of that, I would imagine, and then they should be on the other end of this hopefully by late April, early May, so they can go back to filming shows.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my analysis. That's not what I'm hearing. That's not what's being said. That's just kind of, I think, a way that they could go, because they do have the opportunity of doing that. I think D'Amore does live in Toronto, and I don't think it would be hard to get him and Tyson Dukes or Gail Kim. Actually, I think Gail Kim lives in California now. I don't think it would be hard to get 2 guys from Canada to go and do a studio show like that for a week or 2 to kill time.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see what happens with that. Anything else in the world of wrestling that has piqued your interest and caught your eye?
Not really. I mean, I saw that Broken Matt Hardy debuted in AEW, but that was last week, 2 weeks ago?
Last week. Or
last week.
2 weeks ago. No, last week. Because Brody Lee also debuted.
Oh, yeah. Well, as Jake the Snake's new mentee?
No, Lance Archer is Jake the Snake's new mentee.
Oh, okay.
Brody Lee is leader of the Dark Order.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt Hardy's just there going...
Yeah.
Same old time.
I mean, I Cody, I love you to death, but I feel like you're 2 years too late, 3 years.
Yeah.
What was the height of this Matt Hardy stuff?
2016, 2017, 2016, 2016.
Something like that.
Cody, my dude, Matt was gone, I think, when Jarrett took over.
Yes, I think that's correct.
So 2016. I think part of the problem is with Hardy is the best way to find out if he has any relevancy is to have waited until you had a crowd.
Mm.
You know, I'm fine with them going about the way they're doing it, and like the Brody Lee stuff, you know, debuting him on TV before there's a crowd. That's fine because Brody Lee is being brought in as a worker. You know, he can cut a promo, but Matt Hardy's being brought in as, you know, the broken brilliance of Matt Hardy. You know, he's got this big personality and all. I don't know if that's the thing to do with an empty arena. So I would have waited until you could have done arena shows again with a crowd before debuting Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy also said that his contract allows him to work elsewhere, including New Japan. I'm pretty sure if Matt Hardy goes to New Japan for a match, Tomohiro Ishii or, you know, someone else, you know, fucking
Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah, thank you, Minoru Suzuki. I was getting tripped up on every other name in the goddamn roster besides him. I was like, Sakuraba, no, that's a Pride Fighter. You know, Okada, no. Yeah, Suzuki, like one of those guys would fucking break him in two.
Which wouldn't be that hard to do.
No. I'm pretty sure Maxwell could break him in two if he pushes him hard enough. I also think that Matt might be better off retiring the broken gimmick personally. I thought his, you know, even though it was like 2 or 3 weeks, you know, him coming back with Edge and Randy Orton, where he was kind of more rocking his late 90s, early 2000s gear, I thought that was the way to go. You know, like let him ascend back to a place of moderate normalcy.
Right.
You know, he's a very creative guy, and I don't think you need to worry about him being challenged, like lacking creativity in a different kind of role. I just feel like the broken gimmick has ran its course personally.
Yeah.
That's just my point.
I would agree.
Anything else?
No, not really.
All right, you gonna be on with us Thursday?
Yes, I am going to be there tomorrow.
Shit, it is tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes, today is Wednesday.
Yesterday was Wednesday.
Is tomorrow Wednesday?
Yes.
Where are we on?
There is a 5-issue miniseries. I forget what it's called. We did all the singles and the doubles and the triples, and then we have that 5-issue miniseries. We were supposed to do that last week, but I didn't do the show last week because I was bogged down with too much other work. I forget what it's called. It's like something Irish. I think it has to do with the main character. So maybe it's Scottish. I don't know. Look it up, and it's 5 issues. It's a miniseries. It's not part of the numeral set. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like its own standalone issues 1 through 5, but it's like the next one on the list that would be 5 issues of a miniseries. So,
okay.
You know, text me. You know, if you can't figure out which one it is, text me the name of it, and I'll be like, yeah, either that's it or that's not it. So. With that being said, I think it's
Highland Laddie?
Yeah, that's it. 5 issues, 1 through 5.
6 issues.
6 issues.
Whatever.
All right. 1 through 6 then. My bad. Yeah, so we're doing that one for tomorrow.
Okay.
RealNerdCorp.com. You can find all of our shows, all of our funsies. RealNerdCorp.com. We're on Twitter at NERDCORP. We're on Instagram at RealNerdCorp. Our Woman Crush for this week. We didn't do one last week because I was trying to adjust to the new Corona-ness. But we're back on track, and I forget her fucking name. She's the voice of Ass Ketchum. Ass Ketchum. God damn it, Chad.
Ass Ketchum.
Ass Ketchum. Gotta catch them all. I was going to say something else, but I'm gonna refrain while I'm on the air. What is her name, Zach? What is her name?
I don't fucking know.
I wish my fucking apps would actually work properly. You fucking. Yeah. All right, here we go. Load faster, you twerp. Her name is Sarah Natchenny. Natchenny? Sarah Natchenny. And our rest of the week is one Brody Lee, a.k.a. Luke Harper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instagram said that. Website said that. Twitter said that. YouTube.com/The Wrestling Underground. Twitch.tv/Wrestling Underground. There's a the in the YouTube side of things, so get that right. Tomorrow we will be broadcasting live from Comics and GameCorp on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Comic and GameCorp. We are also going to be on the Friday, but we're going to finish up Chuck on Friday. Same channel. Zach, what are your personals? I do the personals.
You do the personals, damn it.
Zachary can be found on Twitter. Well, don't worry about that. Yeah. Well, are you gonna live tweet WrestleMania 2 nights?
Is it 2 nights?
Yep, it's Saturday and Sunday.
Why is it 2 nights now? Are they finally like, shit, we ran out of hours Sunday. We gotta move it to Saturday too.
Well, I think it's because they've already taped WrestleMania.
Right.
Because they're taping them in front of in the Performance Center and all that. So I don't fucking know why. Maybe because they don't want to bog down the network for 8 hours. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to follow along with New Japan. I don't know. But yeah, so it's 2 nights, probably 3 or 4 hours apiece. So are you gonna tweet or not?
Probably not.
Okay, so don't worry about it. You can find him on Instagram or the DeviantArt at Radiance2020, RADIANCE2020. Did I spell that right?
You got it.
Okay. That's RADIANCE2020 at DeviantArt or Instagram. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Chad Nerdcorp on Twitter, ChadNerdCorp on the Twitter. On the Instagram, it's Chad's Photo Hut, ChadsphotoHut. You can also find us and all of our other podcasts on Podbean at realnerdcorp.podbean.com or by downloading the Podbean app to your mobile device today and searching Real Nerdcorp on your phone or tablet. realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdCorp.com. Anything else?
That's all for me.
Me and Zach and Marcus will be back tomorrow. ComicCorp at twitch.tv/Comic and GameCorp, 9 p.m. We're talking Aaron Go Bragg with the Irishmans. We're also talking we're talking Marvel's new character designs. Oh God. Oh
gosh, what did they do now?
You'll see. We'll also talk some movies and TVs that we've been recommending watching and quarantining ourselves with. So yeah. So with all that being said, Thackeray, why don't you say goodnight to the wonderful people at home?
Good night, James Mitchell.